Hey guys, it's Paradise, and today we have another exciting episode of Creators on Creators, this time being joined by RageGaming. Now, this is a longer discussion, so we won't be using any of our limited 20 minutes of gameplay for the Monster Hunter Wilds embargo. Instead, we'll be using various snippets from the streams, weapon videos, and all that good stuff, so you have something to watch as we go through. But we're going to go over Monster Hunter Wilds, Gamescom, just being a creator and getting a good insight into basically RageGaming as a whole. If you missed the last episode, we had Team Darkside's Chris on, and it's a fantastic watch, so check that out if you missed it. But we also hope you enjoy today's episode, so here it is. Hey guys, it's Paradise, and I am very excited today because we have RageGaming, a channel that I have been watching, almost looked up to for a long time. These guys I would classify as like OG content creators. You guys are banging it out on every big game. You've been covering Monster Hunter for the longest time. I'm just gotta say, first of all, I'm impressed, and I just want to thank you for joining us today, and I'm sure it's going to be a blast for everyone watching as we can
really
talk
appreciate
about
it.
Thank you for inviting us. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, so thank you so much, guys. Today we're going to go over Monster Hunter Wilds. Obviously, I think that's what people are expecting and wanting to learn about. We'll talk a little bit about... Yeah, exactly.
That's a reach, I think.
We'll talk a little bit about Gamescom. I know, Hollow, you got to go. Josh, I'm sure you've had the full rundown from Hollow, so I know that...
Yeah, of course. I was just back home in the editing dungeon.
He was, he was there like on my phone at all times.
I was there
constantly
in
talking.
Nice. And yeah, we'll dive into a little like creator on creator kind of talk, a little bit about YouTube and stuff like that, you know, if you guys are happy to talk about it. And yeah, so I'll just kick it off by saying...
Wait, before we kick it off, let's introduce everybody, because as like new to this kind of discussion format, people last week were like, why don't you introduce everybody? So
great point.
Stuff.
For Paradise Start, let's go.
That's a great point. What a terrible host. Sorry for not introducing everyone.
Honestly.
So, people may already know me. I'm Paradise. You guys would have heard me on the channel and stuff. If you don't already know, we have 26 as well. 26 has been with Arekkz Gaming since the very beginning, co-founder of the channel. So, if you guys haven't met 26, you will have experienced videos through him. He's probably edited and scripted like half of the videos on the channel. And then, of course, I'll let you guys introduce yourself. Josh, you want to kick it off?
Sure, Josh.
Yeah. I am Josh, or Ilia, if you want my hunter name that I think a lot of people probably know a little bit better, or the Pro, as much as that's more ironic title than anything else. But either way, yes, a day-to-day runner of all things RageGaming, alongside...
Aaron, Hollow.
There we go. Thank you. I'm not gesturing.
I pointed the wrong way. So
I know. I realized like that for a moment. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm Aaron or Hollow. You may have heard my voice on RageGaming for over like the last decade, 11, 12 years now. I've been in and out throughout the years, but we kind of came together again about 5 years ago, and I've been producing videos on the channel since.
Yeah, we can get into it, but Hollow's the reason we both started making videos like 14 years ago.
Yeah, very similar.
That's a fun story.
Yeah.
Wait, I need to know the story right now.
Okay.
Wait, go on.
Okay, so it all begins in high school when I'm 15.
What? The start of the storybook. Long time ago in high school.
Long time ago, a boy came up to me and said, "Hey, I hear you play WoW."
And that boy was me.
And that was 17 years ago now.
Jesus,
So,
don't say that.
Yeah, pretty horrible. Yeah. But basically, I dabbled in making YouTube videos. What was it, like 2010 or something like that? 2009.
Yeah, it was 2010.
And just for a hobby, and we kind of got into League of Legends at the same time in the beta of League of Legends. That's how old we are. It's crazy. Josh started making videos about League of Legends. I was doing more casual stuff. He really got into the producing series and making guides, which encouraged me. We were on each other's channels a lot. He encouraged me to go full time with it. He went earlier than me. We worked with each other for a long time, and now it's one channel. There's 3 of us that produce on it now, as well as Cotton. Who's
not allowed to be here.
Yes, not allowed to look at
He's
monster.
not allowed to know
Wilds.
anything. He still
allowed
doesn't
to
know
see anything.
anything that wasn't in the first reveal trailer back December. He doesn't know
That's
anything
crazy.
past
So
that.
he's like on complete blackout, right?
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah,
like
complete
looking at
blackout.
anything.
I just feed him
He is
lies
here
all
in-
the time.
He is here in spirit, though. So
There he is.
There he is.
Life
Yeah.
size.
Life size, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
brilliant. No,
accurate
you guys are like,
representation.
again, OG content creators. I love that WoW is the origin story. I think that's the
Yeah,
best for like a
for
lot of
everyone.
people. Right, yeah.
Apparently.
Wait, what class in WoW were you guys then?
Shaman at the time.
Yeah, I
think,
mean,
yeah.
I knew you as a warrior.
Oh no,
Just
sorry,
rage.
warrior. Yeah, warrior.
Yeah.
You're right.
I was
God.
going to say, not
I
a
got
warrior.
way too
many
Yeah. hours in
John,
that
like,
game.
Rage.
He was definitely a warrior.
Okay. If we're gonna extend on this, the reason the channel is called RageGaming Videos is that way back then, my character in WoW was called Rage Reaver.
Rage. Yeah.
So
Oh.
I was like, I'm gonna make gaming videos, and most people call me Rage because of my WoW character. Rage Gaming Videos, I'm a genius. And then
Yeah.
15 years later, I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
That's great.
was,
No,
uh,
I love it.
There's
how
a
does
paladin / Death Knight swap between them with my
That's
very
cool.
edgy name of Hollow. So and now I'm stuck with that for life. Stuck with it for life.
The
Where's
amount of
Hollow
comments
actually
I
from?
used to
I love
get. The amount of
So-
comments I
it's
used
so
to get
negative.
early on. Yeah, the amount of comments I used to get early on being like, I don't understand why is he called Rage? He's just not angry.
He's so
about
angry all
anything."
the time. Yeah.
It's just that's when I knew I'd made a horrible mistake.
I don't know. It's
That's
quite
cool.
a catchy name, though. You know, it's memorable. So
Oh,
that's a factor.
I'll take that.
So let's divert to Monster Hunter, and I know we're all big Monster Hunter players and fans. This will be a little bit more geared to Hollow for this one, but Josh, I'd love to get your input as well. I want to talk about how much you got to play of the Wilds demo at Gamescom, and in conjunction with that, just what you thought of the booth and the vibe of being there. You know.
Sure. I mean, it was incredible. Overall, I got to play a little bit over 90 minutes. So I had my 60-minute non-recording session, the 30-minute recording. I wish I could have played more, but for me, I showed up on the day, had a couple appointments to make, and then the final session of the day at like 6:30 was when I went to the area to do the recording. So it was me and a few other creators. I met Ruri there, which was nice. Haven't seen him in like 9 years. But yeah, 90 minutes from the people I've talked to. I know you guys did like a live stream too, so I imagine you got some like, well, I say a good amount of time. It's not remotely enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, an hour and a half. It feels like nothing. So yeah, very little.
Yeah, I'll just say we also got to play like not nearly as much as we would want to. You know, Monster Hunter is when you're trying to experience new features, new mechanics, and multiple
There's
weapons.
so much going on.
Even
20
an
hours
hour,
wouldn't have been enough, let's be honest.
exactly.
It's going to take serious time to understand all the new changes and all the subtle stuff. It's easy to be like, oh, look, this new move, but how does it truly work? And then the combo changes of a weapon. And that's the detail that a lot of people want to hear and see. And you're there trying to like understand this stuff in 3 milliseconds while also making sure you get footage of picking something up with a new grapple feature, or, you know, is the mounting the same? How does it actually work? You know, because you're going to spread misinformation. You're the source of a lot of information. It's scary stuff.
No, that's
definitely.
exactly it. Yeah, go on to 6.
What weapons did you try to focus on for like your actual
So
session?
I was able to play dual blades. I was able to play great sword because even though I'm not a great sword player, obviously
Oh,
Josh
no.
contractually, he told me like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have to play it. And then I also played bow. So I got like a good feel of all three.
Yeah, and that's obviously split across that time that you're playing in the session.
Yeah.
And the first demo as well is kind of really short and confined unless you stay in like the camp area next to the handler essentially. So
Yeah, I was hitting that barrel.
yeah, there are a lot. And then when you actually do get into the demo with the other monsters, it's like, go hunt that Alpha Doshiguma, which you feel
Yeah.
time pressure for as well.
Yep.
And then there's a bunch of stuff that you want to mess around with and you're seeing for the first time, so it's actually crazy.
It went by in like 5 seconds, and Josh had sent me a list. I was like, think about everything that you possibly want me to get recorded and think about and look at and try. Give me a bullet point list. I'll have it on the side. I was really lucky. I was there with my girlfriend and she came with me. So she's there next to me, like listing off, okay, now you need this, okay, this,
I
swap
only
to this
sent
weapon.
you like 40 things.
Yeah, it was insane. And I got most of it, but then as quite a few people, as it turned out, lost footage. So personally, I had about 16, 17 minutes of footage saved. My whole dual blades against Ray Dow gone. So,
Oh no!
Oh, that's
not
mad.
just the
That's
dual blades, which
crazy.
is just awesome to like watch anyone
Sad.
play, but the Raid
Yeah.
Alpha as well.
yeah.
A lot of people were having that issue. To be fair,
Yep.
we had our own technical issues. We didn't. Luckily, that didn't quite
Have
happen to
that.
us, but we did have technical issues as well. And
Yeah.
I'll just go back because people kind of expect when a big channel that's maybe known for a game like Monster Hunter puts out a gameplay video that you're going to be playing like a speed run level top tier
Yeah.
sweat that knows every mechanic.
Yeah.
And the reality is, our recording was in the morning on the first day of Gamescom. It was like
All right.
it was like going in effectively blind, and now
Yeah.
you're recording, and this is the only recording you're
Yeah.
going to get while you're there. I'm sure it was probably similar for you guys because those queues on that show floor were insane. They were 10-hour queues. At, like after a certain point in the day, you were not you were done. You were not getting
Yeah,
on.
I actually went over to the booth myself and just checked it out. We were walking through like the main halls, and obviously if people weren't at Gamescom, might not know, there's kind of like massive hallways, and then you've got like massive warehouse sections of all the different booths and stuff. And we're just walking along. We're not like aiming for anything. We're not looked at any maps. Hopefully we'll find it. And as we're walking past, it's like this long look into a huge warehouse, and there in the center, the main hall, was like the Capcom booth with Monster Hunter Wilds. It was massive, and it wasn't big enough. It's
Right?
crazy.
Did you see the Sacred there as well? Did you
Yeah,
get
of
a little-
course, of course.
little picture
My
with it or something?
my girlfriend made the cosplayers do the
Prance
what's
dance.
it called? The prance dance. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
So you joined the queue to get a little like test in before your actual session, and you told me that. And then 2 hours later, you sent me a message saying, "I'm gonna have to leave the queue. I'm not gonna actually
not
get to
gonna
play
make
in
it."
time before my session." So it was like
I
5
tried.
hours long.
It was insane. Yeah, we saw it when it was like circling around and around, but I'd heard that it went through the main
Yeah.
corridor, and they had
Yeah,
to
it was
they had to
nuts.
enforce some rules or something.
That's where we were for a period.
Yeah.
It was a sea of people. It was crazy. So yeah, I'm like you guys have had the same experience. You know, we capture, we try and get everything we can, but we are not given like really any prep or
No.
time to get to hands with things, and
Yeah.
you know it's a shame, and we would all like more hands on time, but it was a popular game. There was a lot of
Yeah.
people wanting to play it. It is what it is. Yeah, we had the stream like you said, which I think a lot of people liked. I was semi expecting a RageGaming stream.
Yeah, well, we would love
if
to.
we'd had more time to like, it was a relatively last minute change for us to actually
Mm-hmm.
be there. If we'd decided like as soon as it was announced it was going to be at Wilds, then we could have arranged everything and made it happen. But it was very,
It was our
very
first
last
time
minute.
doing anything like that at Gamescom, at like a convention environment. We didn't know what to expect. We weren't even sure whether we'd be able to capture. There was back and forth, and then we decided we'd go, like Josh said, very late. So we were at the last like appointment. In most appointments that we did, it was very like last minute, it felt. So if we'd been prepared and had more time in the future, we definitely would have been there for like at least 2 days or a lot longer. Josh would have been there for sure as well with
Yeah.
me, so you know we would have been able to set these things up. But as much as it sucks to miss out on those opportunities, it's still it was a big privilege to be there, be invited, get to see things and see people like I say that I haven't seen in years. It's nice, just this what we're doing now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
nice
for
to
sure.
like get to speak and see each other and put a face to a name kind of thing. You don't often get to do that in this space. It's a strangely isolated job.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
it is
millions
nice.
of reach, but like you're just
Yeah.
in your
Yeah,
room like,
exactly.
almost every day of the year alone. Like
Yeah.
this is my life. These walls.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
time you spent looking at the wall behind your monitor.
Yeah.
I'll just say though, I'm very impressed if it was a super last minute. Ours was fairly last minute too. I will say. So you
Right.
guys weren't alone there. But super impressed that you guys, with last minute planning, managed to get there against technical difficulties.
Yeah,
get the
it's
recording,
bound
and
to
you've got
happen.
good videos out. So I think that's just
Yeah,
very,
we're very
like,
happy.
very
Thank
well
you.
done.
Appreciate that.
So yeah, the booth was obviously crazy, and again, I can't believe that we missed you there. But I think you were there on the day when we had a few other things to run around to, but we were at that
Makes
booth quite a
sense.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have briefly talked about this, and we kind of already might know each other's like weapons that we're sort of most familiar with, but I want to go around, talk about what weapons we're most familiar with, and then obviously Hollow, you got hands on, so you'll be able to talk a bit more in depth. But Josh, you got him to play Greatsword, so you know what's up.
Oh yeah, I have soaked in everything I could find.
So, Holo, why don't you start us off?
Sure. So I played Dual Blades, Greatsword, and Bow, and I'll let Josh have most of the Greatsword. So for Dual Blades, my experience with that was essentially the core gameplay changes that were most impactful. Out of the weapons that I've seen and also played, Dual Blades felt like weirdly less changed than most weapons. It's funny, if you've looked at I'm sure a lot of people have, they have this web page where you can see new information and there's like little information about them. Some of them have almost nothing. Some of them, like Switch X, have a lot more to consider. Dual Blades, at a core value, it's back to grounded compared to aerial from Rise. So you're like buzzing around like a fly, and they've kind of pushed you towards being able to do that a lot more. So with your Demon Dance, that's something you can now cancel out of, or rather choose to not continue. Something that I can't confirm is that it's a bit like a rhythm game, like you press it at the right time, there's a flash and stuff. I'm wondering if there's enhancements from that and maybe skills to do with it, new ones. But essentially you're able to do a longer Demon Dance, so your max DPS combo is a lot higher. But at the same time, you now have that perfect evade, so as you're about to be hit, you can evade. You'll get a little flare, like a perfect guard or a perfect evade. And for that little period after that, for the stamina duration, the Demon Dance, you now have an attack while you're evading. So those little things, those little changes, make a massive difference in the way that you're moving around a monster and trying to maximize your output. So while it didn't have like as much flashiness as or big changes that I've seen, much like Greatsword actually, the core changes to your normal gameplay loop are going to feel very different from Rise, and there's something that feels a little bit more, this is Dual Blades, then at the end of the day I've always got a counter, so it doesn't matter what I do or where I am, you know. So I much preferred Wilds.
I just want to quickly touch on that, because I did spend a very small amount of time on Dual Blades. Yeah, the Blade Dance has this like 3-step combo that can alternate between Demon Flurry, which is I think that's the name
very
of it.
Strange.
So you have like this, it's like Blade Dance 1 2 3, Demon Flurry 1 2 3, and you can go Blade Dance 1, Demon Flurry 1, Blade Dance 2, and there is a timing to it, which is weird. But I didn't get to really test out the evasion. So like, how did you do that?
So all you do, it's really easy. The moment you're about to be hit, you just dodge, and most of us are going to dodge at the wrong time or the right time, and then it might just happen. But if you're experienced, you'll be doing it every time. So you get this blue flare, and now you have this buff, and it's on your character. You're like glowing blue, and for the duration of that, every time you evade, you do like a little kind of spin attack, kind of like the counter attack in Rise. That little spin attack that you get from it. It's not incredible DPS, but if you're thinking you need to get to the head or the tail or that weak point, what you're doing as Dual Blades is usually with a controller pressing evade and then circle to do the little spin attack. That's quite restrictive actually on the way you move. It's like the angles, the diagonal angles you move at, so you need to think about that, how far it's going to get you. Whereas with a normal evade, especially a demon evade, any direction, pretty far, it's amazing. Now that that's doing the attack that you would use to spin at the same time, you can reach exactly where you want in 3 quick presses for the same stamina cost of a normal evade, and then you're right where you want to be, and you've dealt damage along the way, maybe open some wounds or something.
And what we said about the focus strike as well, because that Dual Blades one was looking pretty nice.
Yeah. So obviously most focus strikes don't trigger unless you hit a wound. It's the same for Dual Blades, and it can actually be a bit awkward to land that one. But the focus strike is literally the launch attack from aerial mode in Rise. So you do the jump forward, both blades, hit the thing, and then if it hits a wound, you immediately go straight up into the air, and everything from there, you can take your hands off the controller if you want. Doesn't matter where you did it. He'll spin around to like the nearest spine location and go down the length. I did experience some bugs though, maybe they're not bugs, where he would spin around to the spot, let's say you're on the tail, and then spin a tiny bit and then come off the tail, like not go down the spine.
I see what you mean, like you push it in the wrong direction,
that was like, but it's all automatic, so I have no control over where he goes or if that happens. So I'm sure it was a early build where I'm sure it'll be smoothed out.
Yeah,
but
yes. All right. Well, we might as well go over bow, because you've got some bow time as well.
Sure. That might be the strongest thing in Wilds. At very least, it feels absolutely insane. Obviously, we didn't have his skills or anything like that, but I think it's a full stamina restore every time you perfect evade.
Well, 2-6 can chime in here, because he got some experience with it.
Basically, the deciding dodge works like the more precise that you are with the dodge, similar to the Dual Blades, the more refund that you get. So if you're not really that good on the dodge,
that's
you're going to
really
get like
cool.
a little bit. And you'll
Okay.
It's
get a
not
little
just
bit of extra
binary, it
gauge.
actually respects just how nailed
Yeah.
on your dodge was.
That's
so if you're
great
a
to hear.
sweat, you'll get like the full bar. If you're not a sweat, then you will get like a little bit of bar and the
Okay.
charge and stuff.
Because it feels like it's never going to end. Like you
Yeah,
just
that is
don't
huge
run
for
out
Bo.
of stamina.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the whole thing. You're just going to be looping in there, just
Yeah.
getting your coatings back. And
How
just
did
doing
you
as much
feel
damage.
about the tracer arrow? Because I thought it was going to be. I was thinking going into it when I learned about the tracer arrow. Okay, well we're going to be able to do this sometimes. There's going to be a limiter or something. But with the discerning dodge giving you like a whole like notch on the gauge every time you do it, it doesn't matter whether I'm always got a coating on, and the evade is always an option. You pressing against the monster to bait the evade, so you've always got stamina, you've always got gauge, so you can always tracer arrow. I thought it'd be more limited.
Yeah, I don't think it's too much of a problem. Like when you're playing a Monster Hunter game, it's not that hard to like aim at the monster. The monster's a big target. Like you're aiming
True.
at a massive target. So people complaining about the tracer is a bit of a weird one for me personally, but it does allow you to be a little bit more accurate, where if you've got the head, you're going to probably hit that head a little bit more often with a lot more of like your spread arrows anyway.
If I think about standard bow play, it's like the standard combo generating your power, but I'm not really aiming. I'm kind of pummeling the head most of the time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever weak point you're able to. But if I think about bow, okay, I need to shoot the claws accurately. That is a lot harder in the normal DPS combo. So tracer arrow allowing you to just kind of, no problem, put it on the tail, put it on the claw, whatever you want to break. That is really nice, but that's true. It might not necessarily be like a huge DPS increase because you're pummeling the head anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so Josh, greatsword savant, pro, you could say.
Self-proclaimed pro.
Yeah, I'll take it. I didn't say it, so I'll take it. Yeah. I am very pleased. Ultimately, World and Iceborne Greatsword is my favorite ever incarnation of Greatsword, because I just love the true charge slash cycle, and shoulder tackle is never not good. And then obviously in Sunbreak it was all about the strong arm stance and counter, and I loved the damage it did and it looked stylish, but I was so hoping that Wilds wouldn't keep a counter for Greatsword and kind of explore that direction more, because I just don't think it's Greatsword's identity, really. Like, I've always said that I think Greatsword has the opportunity to be the niche of weapon that deals damage by taking damage, like just powering through attacks, having hyper armor, taking red health to then do it. Like Rage Slash in Rise, to be fair, was a perfect example of it. And then shoulder tackle started that kind of journey. So in Wilds, when you shoulder tackle a actual monster attack, you get to skip straight to the true charge strike, so you don't have to actually slowly charge it up like you do in World and Iceborne, which is just the perfect thing ever. And the thing is, that's the kind of example of a subtle change that's going to feel amazing to actually play, but doesn't really look crazy in like trailers or gameplay unless someone points
They just
it out.
didn't show it.
You might not even notice it's happening. And I have weirdly seen a lot of, I say a lot, some people be like, oh, I'm a bit disappointed with Greatsword. I didn't get anything like crazy. It looks a little bit like lamer compared to the weapons. And to me, that's like, well, maybe you don't really play Greatsword then, because it's all about those little details. Like it's everything to that weapon. And obviously I think the offset attack is ridiculously flashy and cool, so like there's that by itself. But even just focus mode, obviously every weapon has focus mode and can do things with it, but I don't think it's a crazy outlandish statement to say that Greatsword gets the most out of focus mode, because being able to spin 180 while charging is a ludicrous improvement. One that I love, but also I'm a little bit upset because it means I don't have an excuse for missing every true charge strike anymore.
Just spin around.
Yeah, which is a little bit of a shame. But that is just lovely. Honestly, my biggest complaint, air quotes, is that with it being so easy to shoulder tackle into true charge strike, and that being your biggest source of damage, when are you going to want to offset attack? Because it's just much easier to tackle true charge than try and time an upswing with a monster attack. So outside of pure style points, is it actually going to be a
You've
game
always
to
got
do
to go
that?
for style. You've always got
Yeah,
to
of
go for
course,
style
of course.
there.
And it's the two
Every time,
sides.
every
of it.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's like on
You know
one
what,
hand.
though?
Go on.
I was just to say, I think after a offset attack with Greatsword, you go straight into true charge as well. I think, or is
you
it a
do
perfect
the,
guard?
You
the
kinda leap
perfect
forward.
guard you can. After the offset, you use the hook slinger to like charge towards the
Oh, you
monster,
just
and then do like
yeah.
a body slam with the greatsword. So yeah, on style points, it's just it's out of this world. But yeah, there is a lot of just subtle smoothing out of the greatsword that I'm just over the moon with.
It's when you do a successful clash and then you've pushed the monster off, that's straight into a true charge.
Okay.
That's the one.
And actually, I got to credit you two with a little detail that I didn't notice until I saw your tweet on it, with the perfect guard using less sharpness and not having a lot of health loss. That is really cool.
Good
because
spot.
yeah, it is, because normally if you've guarded on a greatsword, you've done something wrong. Like you've been forced into it. It's better than taking that actual hit.
You don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah,
moment.
something. It's normally a panic reaction. Whereas now with perfect guarding and it being rewarded, you can actually use it deliberately in situations where it makes sense. Especially something like offensive guard is still in Wilds, because I assume that would trigger it to do a perfect guard with great sword. And that might be another source of it. So I really like it. There's more options, things look smoother, and it should just be a lot easier and more satisfying to do what is, in my opinion, the most satisfying attack in the game in True Charge. So I just want to play it personally.
Yeah, okay. Feels bad.
Greatsword is definitely one of those pocket weapons that I always pick up, but with the new guarding mechanic and it being so easy to perfect guard, from me coming from someone that is predominantly playing like longsword at the moment, as like I play all the weapons.
I'd love to ask you about that,
but that guard just feels like it's going to be so spicy in gameplay. So,
and greatsword's like clash animation. I mean, come on, like it's just
it's pretty
oh
good.
My god,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's just it. Just to quickly say, I think you're completely right. Greatsword kind of got these like passive upgrades. At least, also, I'll just say, I don't think everything was even in that demo. It certainly wasn't everything explained in the notes. I'm sure you may have looked through some of the weapon notes. For example, the charge blades overcharged files. There was no mention of that anywhere in the game. Yet it existed, and I tried it, and I was tweaking with how it worked. But so I'm feeling like there's probably something for each weapon, or maybe many things that just aren't known yet or weren't shown because they just are like a new combo or a button hold that you just wouldn't know to do as a seasoned hunter that's used to your normal moveset. But yeah, Greatsword definitely had those like really nice passive bonuses, like you say, the guard enhancements making guard actually good, power clashes being a thing, and Greatsword just owns them. And what other passive things like skipping straight to true charge on a tackle, like you said. So does it need a crazy flashy move if everything you're doing has just got enhanced,
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly my thinking on it, because true charge is already that flashy move.
It's the difference between like the shallow stuff versus the deep stuff, and of course someone like Josh is going to care more about the deep stuff.
Yeah, definitely. That's the stuff that you're going to be using all the time as well.
That's exactly. That's the hundreds of hours carrying the weapon over just spamming the big attack over and over. Which is also, it's all kind of fun, but as someone who's played longsword, from what I can tell, it's not just get to Helmbreaker, use Helmbreaker, get to Helmbreaker, use Helmbreaker on loop like it was in
Whoa. There's a lot of EI countering between that.
Oh, okay, sorry. At least it seems to me like there's a little bit more variety and nuance to what you can do over just spam Helmbreaker.
No, definitely. This time they've changed it around so you have loads of different options. Obviously, you've got the Spirit Release Slash that looks absolutely insane at this moment, but you also have like the Spirit Charge, which is kind of a dummy nuts thing. They basically put a true charge slash on the longsword essentially, because you can charge up if you're
channeled R2.
If you're in red gauge, you don't get any knockback while you're charging as well, so you can
what you have like hyper, that's ridiculous.
So it's got hyper armor on it, so you can do like a bit of spice with that as well. So but longsword, I'm super excited to play around with that and see how it goes. And the animation changes once you get to red gauge, like the Spirit Foresight World Slash that changes animation is really cool.
Yeah, the different counter on that, but then also this Crimson combo.
Yeah, so that's basically just your basic combo being replaced. It's a loopable combo though, so you can go around and just spam the triangle, so it's a faster, quicker, probably more heavy hitting loopable combo for
I love the idea of like, okay, I'm in red. This doesn't mean instant helm. It means the right time. But that being like a stronger combo sounds awesome.
I still feel like people are going to spam Helmbreaker back to back. There's so many ways to get back into Helmbreaker and get bar. Obviously, the Focus Strike builds up your gauge and quite quickly, and you can get to red quite quickly as well. And if
I was wondering about the Focus Strike, where you're leveling up when you hit the wound, and you can level up multiple times if you hit multiple wounds. But obviously, at a certain point, you're going to run out of wounds. Some monsters restore theirs, it would seem, but not all of them. So I guess a part of Longsword's going to be carefully managing wounds to instantly level up to maintain raid as effectively as you can.
Yeah.
How did that feel to do?
I feel like runes are looking more important than they actually are, because we fought Raidal. I know you probably fought Raidal, and the runes took a while to kind of open. So I don't know if they're going to be as like responsive as, say, something on, how do you say it? Dashiguma? What's the pronunciation, Prado?
Don't ask me. I've got into so much trouble pronouncing that. I keep calling it Doshugama. And then I got
that's
sent.
pretty off.
Okay, yeah, but I did that in a
off.
whole discussion, and then I just kept getting sent photoshopped images of Doshuguma with Dodogama's head on it, with requests to pronounce it properly, and it's like, okay, that's fine, just hundreds of passive. Yeah, okay. It's still Tigrex though.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta be honest, Josh, you're not the only one. No matter how I say something, right or wrong,
They're made up names. They're made up names.
Yeah.
I'll set the record straight here, though. It's the Shagama.
It's Dashagama. That's how they say it in the game, right?
The Shagama. It's really hard to say consistently.
Yeah,
but that's how they say it, and that's
crazy.
I believe that's the technical.
There's already a comment actively being typed, like, actually.
On that topic, I was saying Doshiguma. That's how it sort of looks like it's phonetically pronounced.
That's kind of feels right to me.
And everyone, I think, kind of was like, that's how that looks right. Even though there was a few comments that were like, you're saying it wrong. And I was like, I don't know them. Anyway, then they did the official stream, so I saw the pronunciation. I was like, okay, I'll try and change it, even though it's like really hard to say it consistently. So I changed the way I say it in the videos now, and then I get the comments saying, no. So there is no winning. It's really funny.
If you try to win, you're losing already. So.
Yeah. So back to wounds. Essentially, there's going to be different monsters, and on like Dashagama, whatever, it's he reopened his wounds, so there was a lot more to kind of exploit there as well. So I don't think it's going to be as easy on bigger monsters to do, and as you're going to say, like, it's finite resource as well. So I think you're still going to do your spirit combo. Your spirit combo is a lot more mobile nowadays. You can go left and right and do whatever you want, and you still got your foresight slash and your EI slash to mess around with. So you're going to have a bunch of different options, and I think that's what the core thing that they're doing across the board for Wilds is just giving the weapons a lot more options for what you want to do.
It does.
I mean, I love the idea of wounds being more than just, oh, there's a wound, hit it, you know? Like, it's a timing thing. Like with dual blades, as automatic and all that is with the cool spine slash, I love the idea of going, okay, I've done a big combo, I'm about to be punished, wound iframes down the spine. That sounds awesome. But done intentionally, not just because there's a wound available.
Yeah, but free damage, big damage.
True, that's true. And I get to look like Levi, that's the most.
Yeah, exactly. Most important.
The one thing I'm curious on is, obviously in multiplayer, they said only one hunter can pop each wound. It's not like individual for all four
hunters. That's a good question.
So I do wonder if there's going to be just like this fierce competition to immediately get the wound. Everyone wants it for their own weapon, as opposed to actually using it at the right time.
That's a really great point, because certain weapons actually gain additional bonuses than just damage. So, like Insect Glaive gets all of its essence from doing it.
Pretty insane,
Longsword gets like spirit levels. So there's definitely going to be. It's like with wake up hits, you know. People are going to be fighting.
Same thing,
It's going to be like a hierarchy of which weapon gets to use the wounds.
I can foresee it now. Of like, because the longsword has a wide slash that can hit multiple wounds in quite like one quick succession with the focus strike. People are not going to complain about being flinched by longswords anymore. It's going to be those longswords took all my wounds. So it's going to be gone.
Definitely. So yeah, 2-6, you've talked about the longsword. Do you have anything more to add?
I want to hear about your switch hacks and your. What did you play? You still played switch hacks. You played.
What's your main? What's your baby weapon?
So, I mean, once upon a time I had a main back in Generations, but now I just play everything. I think that's like the YouTube life, you know. It's
I
like,
feel that.
That's a very cotton approach, to be fair.
Yeah, so I am more familiar with some than others, but I definitely I've played all of them, and I've certainly in World I've played all of them enough to be competent to do a
comfortably,
HUD. But yeah, mostly my time was spent on Switch Axe and Charge Blade, but I did dabble in others. Again, our time was so limited. when I say dabble,
Yeah.
I was maybe lucky to get, minutes on other ones.
Yeah.
That's how it felt.
It was mainly, and we queued. We actually did get in once after a 2-hour queue, so we were queuing to try and get that extra
God, I'm
time
jealous.
that we could. Yeah, it was the first thing we went to in the morning, and it was
me
only
too.
the mission 1, so because the mission 2 queue was even
Oh
longer.
yeah, I heard about that. You did like the really quick hunt because lower health pool and everything.
At
right?
least it was hands-on time. Like
I
so-
would have done that. Yeah, I would have done that.
But yeah, the Switch Axe is feeling like incredible. This is the best iteration of Switch Axe, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think,
I'd love to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's funny that Josh talks about feeling like Greatsword doesn't need a counter, and I think you're right because it's got the tackle. You can already block if you need to. But I feel that Switch Axe is one of these weapons where a lot of the moves are quite committal. There is no
it feels
block.
very sticky to play. Even if you
Exactly,
go
and-
for like a Vade extender, it's still a bit.
That's you hit it on the nail, and you've got the little side hop,
Yeah.
and it's very short, like you say, unless you
Yeah.
play this, and even then it's
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Yes, but so when Rise added in the elemental burst counter as a Silkbind attack, that was like chef kiss, ultimate Switch Axe perfection, and I think it amped you immediately. It was so good.
Yeah.
Big hit.
So that reignited my love for Switch Axe, which was my weapon back in Gen. And now I think that they've kind of taken that and been like, how can we incorporate this into the moveset and do the weapon justice, but not just make it this kind of like with the dual blades, like a button that you press and you're good to go, counter immediately sort of thing. So you've got the offset attack in axe mode, which is so satisfying. Those offset attacks are just always nuts. But then you've got the counter in sword mode as well. So no matter which mode you're playing on, you have a response to an incoming attack. And it's it's not like, I wouldn't say they're super hard to do, but it's not like they're easy to do. You have to do it with intention. And so it's one of those things that's it feels good to pull off because it's a skillful thing to do in the middle of your sword combo, because you can only seemingly do the counter after doing a sword attack of some kind. Whereas with the axe, it's just the double button input and you just have
send
that
it in,
boom and it sends the monster flying.
What was the response after you landed it? What's the move with the sword? What's the feedback that you got? Charge, anything?
Yeah, so in both it would give you switch gauge, so you have a way to
Right.
regain switch gauge even in sword mode, which is just incredible.
Pretty
especially
cool,
'cause
yeah.
especially because you can cancel out of your combos into the counter.
Right.
So a skillful player is probably going to be able to stay in sword mode a lot longer.
Longer, yeah.
Whereas again, it gave switch mode as well with the offset attack in axe mode. I think it gave more in axe mode though, so it's
Makes
probably
sense,
worth
yeah.
going for. But then you also have the full release and the compressed slash, which is your amped and non-amped follow-up to your element discharge. And Zero Sum is still in. There was a lot of debate about Zero Sum. I tested it myself. It's still in the game, and there's footage out there now of it as well. But yeah, if you're amped, you can hold down R2 after doing an element discharge, and you do this additional charge, which I believe has hyper armor, and then you go into basically what's similar to the compressed, the Rise alternate element discharge.
I was thinking about They just they put that in, looked really cool, never used it because it wasn't good.
Exactly. So now it's like a follow-up after your element discharge. And
I
then you
love
have the
that.
compressed slash, which is a quicker version that doesn't do as much damage but can be done non-amped. So you have these cool follow-ups that you can do. Counter, offset attack are in there. It just feels like the best version of Switch Axe because you have those responses.
Something that I played Switch X and World and tried to get into it. It was one of the weapons that I was I love the idea of this, but something about it, like you say, it just doesn't click, even with Evade Extender. Certainly a good weapon in that game, though. Amazing. But in Rise and Sunbreak specifically, that's when I truly fell in love with it, with the countering specifically. The way that it felt almost like Greatsword, where you hold your ground, you do your combos, you go toe-to-toe with a monster, and then as soon as it's going to punish you, that makes you stronger because you just countered it and hit it really hard, knocked it down, whatever. And dodging with zero-sum attaches. But that's the big question for me, is in Wilds, do you feel that way where you can stand your ground because of these offsets and these counters? Any scenario you're okay, I can pull that out? Or is it more I have to set this up?
A skillful player will weave it in. I think it's entirely that. I think it does come down to skill as well. again, we didn't have enough time to really get familiar with it.
Do
when
any
we
of
were-
this really detailed
Exactly,
stuff.
yeah. So I can't say that I was there like slash
Fair
counter
enough,
slash
fair-
slash
fair
counter,
enough,
but
yeah.
I can see that you can
The
do that.
potential. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And then the offset attack is more of a thing that you need to be a bit more mindful of because the animation is a bit longer and it's a
I
bit more,
felt that, yeah.
if you miss it, it's a bit more of an end lag on that end
Punish,
on the end of
yeah.
it. So, but it's rewarding if you hit it. But yeah, I think it is like that where you can go toe to toe. You have an option in both forms, and I think the counter is more responsive in that you can do it at step 2 or 3 in your combo. But you do also have to remember that certain switch X moves like Zero Sum or Element Discharge can be quite like a commitment to do, and you're not going to be able to like counter, in the middle of that. So again,
Not everything can.
It's timing heavy.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
the
I mean, it's-
Focus Strike is really cool as well because it has an entry point in axe and sword mode and then a morph into either or mode, into like back or forth, and one will end with an element discharge and one will end with a power slam, which gives you power axe mode. So
That's cool.
you have like loads, you'll be weaving and switching even more than usual. And I think they've balanced it more because you could play like solely axe, you could play mostly in Rise particularly, you could just never play axe mode because of the charge move, the Wirebug one that gives you like charge.
Yeah.
But now it seems like you do have to balance between the two modes
Build
a bit
up
more.
a bit.
And they
Fair
buffed
enough.
Power Axe mode with additional switch gauge gain on hit in axe mode. So there's these little things that make it feel like it plays more like how switch axe should. And
Yeah, it's
I
my
love
number one
counters.
weapon I want to try after like the ones that I did. It's the one that I regret not having any time with.
Yeah, it
What I
felt
love is-
amazing. Yeah.
What I love is no matter who is talking about whatever weapon so far, everyone I've seen that's played Wilds, no matter what weapon it is, no matter who they are, it's just glowing. This is awesome. I'm so happy
Yeah.
they've done this, and I think that
Yeah.
says a lot. Like it's really impressive.
Yeah,
Everything,
definitely.
every weapon except for one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no!
Which weapon?
Which weapon?
There's one weapon that people are not happy about.
Is it
At least
Insect Glaive?
he's got it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh
the
yeah, losing
aerial
the
stuff.
helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's up for debate whether it's in there or not. Again, I don't think a lot of people played it. I actually did try it.
I was coming into this to ask about that. Like, do you know anyone that's touched it?
Has anyone actually helicoptered, please?
All right, I can give you the. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna heavy caveat this.
Okay.
I do know Insect Glaive a little. I am familiar with World Iceborne style Insect Glaive. I know how to do the helicopter slash. I know how to do aerial. I know how to do your regular grounded combo. I played it in the demo against the Shagama. I don't know if it's in the game or not. Simply because I don't think everything that is in the game that has been explained, just like the overcharged files on the charge blade not being anywhere present in the menus, but clearly is a mechanic that exists. So yeah, I couldn't get the bounce. Doesn't mean it's not in there, because it could be a button hold, it could be a combo of button holds, it could be a new combo. Who knows?
Yeah, I saw him trying to get the bounce to like happen, and you just literally just fall to the ground. It's kind of funny
That's a
and
bit
sad at the same
sad.
time.
It is. That's what makes me think that surely somehow it's got to be there. 'Cause It's
Yeah.
such a like core, critical part of Insect Glaive's identity to just stay in the air repeatedly. Jumping off a
Great Sword's
monster.
no longer a charge weapon.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
feels
thing.
like that kind of thing. Like I just because otherwise, what Insect Glaive's got's really cool. Actually, combo attacking with the bug, having even just a little like quality of life, seeing what essence you're gonna get depending on the part of the monster you're
Very
aiming at.
true,
Like
yeah.
that's really lovely for the weapon. But losing the bounce.
That's too much.
Losing the bounce.
Bounce, man.
Oh, what's like the selling point of the weapon, like the flashiness of just flying through the sky? But you know,
Aerial
we'll-
gameplay, yeah.
yeah, well, more time will tell. But
Yeah.
I'd love to know what everyone's sort of highlight. Doesn't necessarily need to be Gamescom, but just like the post Gamescom stuff to do with Monster Hunter, because we got a lot of information out of it with the dev streams as well as just people's streams and like recording sessions. So like Josh, what for you's been like your Monster Hunter World's highlight?
Oh, that's quite a difficult one. Because, like, it's everything. I mean, it feels like such a cop-out to say, but it really is. Because, obviously, for me, I wasn't literally there, so I've just been trying to soak up every part of it. And as someone who wasn't there, what I can imagine it would be is just the vibe of the room and the stage and the official streams and the queue and just how big and like electric I assume the atmosphere literally was walking around with that many people there with Monster Hunter. And I mean, if I want to go specific, Rio's was saying that is going to use hammer, and then the second weapon is also hammer. You know, that was a particular gem of a moment, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, I think for me, as cliche as it might be to say, is just seeing how far Monster Hunter has come. Like, the easy example is that the GU weapon trailers have like 15k views, and the Wilds weapon trailers have like 600,000 views.
Crazy.
And that's ridiculous. So seeing it in such scale at Gamescom, and from people that I've talked to, and I think you guys were at the Iceborne Gamescom equivalent way back, like the difference in like scope of even that, I've been told, is quite huge, right?
Yeah.
So
was,
I'm
we were
just
not ready.
Yeah. So honestly, for me, the highlight is just seeing how big of a deal Monster Hunter has become, because I just really love Monster Hunter, and I want that for it. And it's one of the rare devs and everyone behind it that I think really do deserve that, because they just so obviously love the game that they're making. So that's got to be it for me.
Hollow, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's very telling with certain games and certain events that I've been to and done. You can't really ask those kind of questions, like what combos into that, or like, hey, how's this feel? Like, these people play the game. They really play the game, and it's obvious. But you're right, Josh. Basically going to the recording section and walking in and seeing Rui for the first time in like 8 years, whatever it's been, and instantly recognizing each other at that kind of moment. And then there's people there that you don't know, but you're all there for the same reason. We're all about to do like a 60-minute non-recording, so everyone's talking. You know, that's really it's really cool, because everyone's there and you're like, okay, you're gonna play that, tell me about that. Oh, have you learned anything about that? You know, like it feels totally not isolated in a way where it normally is, as we said earlier. And it's just nice for people to come together, and that is happening online as well, you know.
Yeah,
it's really nice to see.
Definitely. 2-6, how about you?
Just that the game was actually good, because you get your hands on the game.
That's like okay. Yeah, bloody hell.
Bloody hell.
I'm going to be spending 600 hours in this no matter what, so I'm so happy it's good.
No, but like from the initial trailers, because I don't know why they've chosen like a desert area to kind of show off the game. It looks
there
fun
was a bit of a
yeah. It doesn't feel super. It feels exciting because it's a new Monster Hunter game, but the visuals of it don't necessarily match up with that excitement, because it's just a desert and some monsters. And the gameplay looked similar to World a bit too much at some points in those initial trailers. But then you get your hands on it, and you've seen the weapon trailers on the week before, and my excitement was just rising. And then I finally played it, and I was just like, this game is slick. I love it. It's so good. And it's just fun to play again, and it reignites that Monster Hunter love. And I'm guessing it's the same for you guys. We're jumping between so many games, and we're playing so many bangers that you're like, is Monster Hunter
crazy.
As good as I remember it being?
Yeah.
I jump back on it, and I'm like, okay, this game is actually just sick. It's like, it's so
yeah.
cool. So yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, the last time I answered this question, I said that it was the community, being amongst them and meeting them. So I'll give a slightly different one this time, which is getting to meet Ryozo and Takeda. That was just really cool, and again, super like personable, even though they're very like high-ranking, prestigious kind of people in this space, and they're obviously the game is their like baby. So it was really cool to just meet them and just see that they're like really human and really friendly and personable, and maybe they even like know who you are. They're aware of the content, the channels that cover their game, which is just refreshing to see, because normally I feel like that
it really is. There's nothing like
definitely.
it elsewhere.
So as this is like creators on creators, as we're calling it, I want to talk a little bit about like the creator side of things and the YouTube side of things, if you guys are up for it. You guys have been doing it for years, and kind of in the vein of us, you guys do a lot of different games. You guys put out a ton of videos, even more than we do. I'm just wondering how you guys sort of balance burnout and video output. Obviously,
it's going to get dark.
Oh, okay. This interview is over.
That's just it, because we put out a lot of videos as well, and as a
It's
content
tough.
creator, your
Hard
output
work.
is
Yeah.
your bread, is your like what brings in your dough. But also you need to balance your own health and like excitement for these games, because you don't want to be playing games you don't enjoy. You don't want to be over covering games so that you run out of enjoyment. These are things that we obviously have to balance ourselves. So I'm just curious, like your guys' insight on that, because you guys are out
Josh?
there killing it on every game.
I mean, I wish there was going to be like a sort of magical silver bullet answer I get that's like just gives me
I just
boundless.
love all games.
Yeah. But I think something that Hollow actually said the other day is probably one of the bigger things is just the discipline of it. Like you just, the way I look at it is this needs doing, so therefore I will do it, and I'm quite good at maintaining that mentality. Like a lot of people that know me and how I work and stuff, they don't quite understand how I seem to have such an exhaustive just drive to do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it is to my own detriment, but I kind of do. Like I just do. Like I absolutely love it. Don't get me wrong. Like content creation, everything, YouTube. I mean, I've obviously been doing it for like 15 years now, which is really scary to say, but I just get on with it. But I don't mean that in sort of a, oh, let's get on with it. I just really like getting on with it. And so far, that hasn't, broke anything. At least I don't think it has. So I just kind of... And, like, covering side games, so that feels insulting to them almost, because it's not like we treat them like that. But obviously, Monster Hunter is the primary love of the channel. And that is always just the most, like, passion-based thing, because I just adore it. And whether it was for videos, whether we had 1 subscriber or 1 million, I would still do that, because I absolutely adore it. And that has a lot of, like, side splash over energy left over for other games, because it's like, okay, we have till now and then Wilds obviously sometime next year. What's some cool stuff that's coming out between now and then? And it's like an almost timeline to the next big Monster Hunter thing, and that in a way inspires each thing along the way, and I just kind of get into it is the best answer I can give. Obviously I think Hollow's mental process might be a little bit different, as we're about to find out. Less on him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I get that all the time.
Josh is like a well of like, how do I describe it? It's the motivation is just not the right word, as we've talked about recently. It's like discipline is the way to do anything that's tough, whether that's sticking to having a good diet, getting up early, exercise, work, and when you work for yourself or you're on your own schedule, because it's a strange job to be able to technically get up at 5 p.m. if you want, and as long as you get the work done on time, no one knows, and that's a dangerous thing. You need to keep a schedule. You need to, what works for you, sure, but it has to be something that you can, on a bad day, still produce good results. And for us, discipline. And we work together as a 3-person creative team. We have a schedule that we all follow, that we discuss and have back and forth. We try to share the brunt of the weight as much as we can. I think the biggest thing for us as a team is that to me, it's very important. I can't be lifting a heavy weight while the other 2 are just chilling. We all have to work hard when it's time to work hard, and we all push to give each other breaks. And sometimes one of us gets sick or something happens, someone has to go to Gamescom, so other people take on more work during that, like that recent example. It's a payback system or a balancing of plates, and we have respect for each other as creators, but we also have to like look after each other as people as well. And having done this on my own for a long time, under a different channel name, now I'm obviously part of RageGaming full time, coming from being on my own to working in a team environment like that, it has made me produce much more and better results over a long period, over hard times, bigger than anything we've ever done. Like, we're at our most successful, and it's because we found that kind of dynamic.
No, that's really great to hear. Because it's obviously you guys and Cotton.
Yes.
Is anyone out? Because I know from, I think you have it in your video description that you have like the thumbnail artist.
Mm-hmm.
Is there?
Yeah, we've got the thumbnail
but it is
artist
just
for
the 3 of
pronouns.
you, right?
Yeah, the 3 of us are the primary maker of videos, and then there's the thumbnail artist for the pro noob thumbnails, and then we have an editor that helps out with specifically just the pro and noob episodes.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're like
Yeah, okay.
mammoth, like couple-hour recordings per episode and getting that down
Kind of
to
down
a
to
nice
the- yeah.
20-minute entertaining show. Like that's I used to edit all of them myself fully back in the day, but
Yeah.
obviously that is a colossal time investment, and it means I can't be where I'm like actually needed, which is running things essentially.
Yeah.
So that was the big help. But everything else we just do between the three of us.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, no,
interesting.
that's awesome.
It's interesting that you said side games. I know you probably didn't mean to say it, but we've got
That
context.
terminology.
Yeah, we've got context to like what you do, and more so would understand your channel. And people don't realize like how big those other side games are. And when it comes
Yeah.
to like doing
Yeah.
Monster Hunter,
It's not like you can put any less effort into
Yeah,
them
exactly.
if you're going to do them justice. It's not like a
Yeah.
little freebie.
yeah, say we're talking about games like Elden Ring. Elden Ring eclipses Monster Hunter in viewership. We do Monster Hunter because we're passionate about Monster Hunter.
Yeah, yeah.
And people do not
100%.
realize that as well. And I think for all of us, and I've seen it across the board on all the Monster Hunter videos, everybody's stepped up the quality of their videos and the time and the passion that they're actually putting into each of the videos that they're doing for this game as well, just because they like it. And
Yeah,
people do not
genuinely.
understand it. So yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
Josh
definitely.
said, sometimes passion overlaps with what your
Yeah.
work is, and that's always like a highlight, but it's not always the case.
Yeah.
But when it is, I think it's obvious.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And that's nice.
Yeah, talking about like side games, let's just touch on like Black Myth. We're already getting long on this one. I apologize for taking up so much of your guys' time. I'm
Oh no, I'm
loving this
happy to talk as long as you want to. I love this stuff.
I just wanted to talk about Black Myth Wukong because this was a game that we were so excited for, and then it drops like right on Gamescom when we're out of the country. So
This is why Josh wasn't.
I know.
at
So
Gamescom.
Josh, yeah, you've got to be you playing it and covering it. Just give me the rundown. What's Black Myth Wukong saying? Because I haven't been able to play it.
It's so good. Like I expected it to be fun, of course. Like it looked like, it's going to be quirky action combat based on the Wukong myth. That's great. But it is actually so well made. Like the raw gameplay, the bosses, the fights with them, like mechanically solid, visually just stunning. Like if I had to describe Wukong in like a word, it would just be cool. Like everyone that was part of making it, they didn't have to go that hard on everything, but they just kind of did. And it just flows through it. But beyond just the raw, stylish gameplay, which is easy to look at and go, oh, it's just, there's no substance here. There's actually a lot of really just, why don't other games do that? Like clever little design choices, and sometimes really subtle ones that's not like a genius thought of it, but like imagine playing Elden Ring and at any point you could just open the menu and fully respec instead of having to find a mimic tier and going to rely on it, and there's a limited amount of them. In Wukong you can, so before every boss you can just fully respec into a build that is good for that boss, and that just feels really nice, and that's just many little things like that throughout the game. And it just works really, really well. And obviously, if you're into Wukong and the story of it does a really good job of conveying that. And bottom line, I don't think it's fair to call it a Souls-like. Like, there is bonfires, and that's probably the most similar mechanic. But it's just a really good action RPG, boss rush-esque game. And honestly, it might be, I think, my favorite new game of the year that isn't based on something else or an expansion or a sequel or something like
It's
that.
true. It's nice to have something new.
Yeah, so I've really been enjoying it, and I mean, are you guys gonna still play it, or at least personally, or actually give it a go? Because
Yeah, when this period of time is over, then definitely I'll jump into it. But like, because there's so much Monster Hunter stuff to get through at the moment, I don't want to particularly jump on it and dedicate a bunch of time to it, because I really want to.
Yeah, that's
if I'm not
completely fair.
playing it for content, I want to sit down and just have a solid time where I can just enjoy it.
It
with no
exists
pressure.
the whole time.
Yeah,
If you're
exactly.
playing a year or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Well,
So-
that is one advantage of Cotton being completely blind. It means he can't really help with the Monster Hunter stuff, so he just got to be the Wukong guy, which kind of worked out. So he's honestly a lot more into it, knowledgeable with that game than even I am, because I've obviously played it for the Pro Noob series, but past that he's handled all like the more guidey type
Coverage.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, super. I mean, that's kind of what I was expecting to hear, because it looks good, and it looked good pre-launch as well. So we probably will play it. I just don't know when, but I'm excited to try it. It looks really good. I do have another question. What advice would you give to anyone wanting to do what we do?
Whew.
Go on, Josh.
Oh yeah, okay, just me again. And immediately start
Yeah,
with this question.
yeah.
That's great. I mean, I've obviously answered this question in various
So many
ways, and like
times.
streams or other people, loads over 15 years, because it gets asked a lot. And there's been all sorts of answers. And I feel like I'm at the point now where the immediate answer that comes to mind is be prepared for the fact that it's not really what it looks like. Like, on the surface, it's very easy to see you're playing games and you're talking about them, and then people watch it and it's all good. But there's so much that goes behind it. Obviously, I don't need to tell you two that, but the actual face of what you see is kind of the tip of the iceberg. And I think the biggest thing, if someone wants to do it really seriously and really get into it and make it work, is the obvious stuff that you could generically say, like, make sure you do something you're actually passionate about, make videos that you love, and then that will come across. That stuff makes sense, and it's not unimportant, it is. But I think the biggest thing is, if you're really going to commit to it and make it everything, you have to be prepared for the fact that it is going to be everything. There's no off. You can't really clock out from YouTube. You can't really stop thinking about it. It moves too fast and everything matters. And it will, if you end up really making it work, kind of be the cornerstone of your life. And you have to be able to cope with that. And I think that's something that's always worth saying for anyone that just sees the literal videos and goes, yeah, I want that to be me. As more of a sobering answer than you might have expected, but I do think it is one that is that bears getting across every now and then.
It's exactly the answer, because that's why Arekkz left, right? He wanted a 9 to 5 because it was always on. It's a lifestyle, and
yeah, literally, it is a lifestyle. Like, when that happened, I completely got it.
Yeah,
it wasn't
exactly.
like oh my god, like, it's like, yeah, that's fair enough. When you know you've reached your limit.
No, definitely. What about you, Hollow? What would your advice be?
I think about it weirdly all the time, because I used to do my own channel, and that was my thing, and I was successful with it, but I found a lot of struggle with it, and if it wasn't for Josh, I don't think I would still be doing it, you know, like, it's a big part of it. But even now, I'm like, I work on it most of the time, it's my full-time job, it's like Josh's lifestyle always, and I'm still like, oh, it would be fun to do my own little live streams though. It would be fun to, like, say Deadlock, Valve's game, that's a massive topic, and I'm a big MOBA guy. That's Paragon behind me. That's actually the last time I saw Arekkz. We were at Epic Games in 2016. Their game that they've now left is a 3D shooter style MOBA, and Deadlock is Valve's version of that. And I'm like, I wasn't interested, and I played it once. I'm like, wow, I'm really into this, way more than I thought it would be, to the point where I'm thinking about it a lot. But it's so different for us. It's not something we're expecting to cover. The depth that you need to understand a game like that to make good content, in my opinion, you know, it's asking too much. But I love the idea of covering that game and doing little videos or something in some fantasy world where I have time for that, because it's something I'm passionate about. And that's the advice I suppose I would give. It's like, you have something you're really into, you're thinking about it a lot, and you just want to, especially the word community, if you make content about a game, whether it's good or bad or accurate or whatever, if you make content, someone's going to watch it, whether it's 5 people or 5,000 or whatever. And because we're in that day and age where Discord exists, TikTok, you know, short formats, and then there's the long format interest, you can really just do one thing. Like, okay, I'm just going to make shorts on Deadlock about, like, these characters' lore. You will find people who are interested in that. And then if you join Discords, talk to people on Twitter or whatever, Reddit, you will make friends and form a community. And I think that's kind of a cheat code. It's like, you're not doing it on your own. There's people interested. If you talk to people and they ask, hey, what's this? That gives you video ideas. I think the new wave of content creation compared to 10, 15 years ago is super different. Getting started now, I think, is getting involved in a community and working out, like, what they're looking for and facilitating that in some way. And especially if it's a niche that, you know, not a ton of people are doing, even better. But yeah, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that.
Those were great answers.
So what posters do you actually have on your wall, Hollow? Like, what are the posters that you have? Elden Ring.
We've got Elden Ring, obviously. It's all backwards. We've got Zelda, obviously. That's Dark Souls 3. That is someone that I made a series on my old channel about when I did, like, a live blind playthrough back in those days. That's every death that I have in Dark Souls 3. like with a little piece of art next to it of the moment.
Oh, okay.
Then we have Paragon. Then you've got Stygian Zinogre.
Yeah.
Josh got
Sick.
me that. Yeah. That's, you can't see it. It says praise the sun on that.
Yeah.
That's all of Dark Souls 1 in one image.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. We have like a Dark Souls image. This was by Dynamo Tom. It's dated 2013. I don't put it up because I'm kind of embarrassed to have art of myself on my wall. But I can't get rid of it. I've had it for like over 10 years. And then you've just got like DC Comics behind me.
Okay, awesome.
Very
I think
nice.
I wanted to ask you two if I could. Is obviously, as you brought it up with Arekkz leaving the channel, and then from then you've like killed it, which I think is really awesome. And honestly, kudos to everything you've been doing since.
Wait,
that.
have we got the RageGaming seal of approval?
But I just, what was it like, that sort of transition? Because I think understandably a lot of people saw that and like, oh, but I think now we clearly know who was the real backbone of that channel. No, but obviously he was always like a bigger like face of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, as obviously we understand that a team is a team and everyone has to put in what they need to.
Not really a face of the channel myself, like especially with the Monster Hunter stuff, people are suddenly aware that I exist. It's weird.
Yeah.
So I just would love to know what that kind of period of transition was like.
Do you want to take this one,
'cause
Paris,
obviously-
or do you want me to start?
I can start. So you're right. I think when you're not outwardly known to the audience, and that's not to say no one knows, because like we did the discussions and we had the streams, and you know we were still present in various ways across the years of videos with Arekkz still there. But what was most clear is that if whoever's the face of the channel is, that is where the vast majority of people are going to either just assume that it's that one person or identify the channel to that one person. So although it had been trickle fed that, you know, we had these discussion videos, we had the streams and all these other things, and it was always communicated in various ways that it was a team, I think people were shocked when he left because it was like, oh, the channel's dead then. But the reality is 26 is the other co-founder of the channel, and the channel itself just wouldn't exist without 26. A lot of ideas and like you say, backbone of things have really originated from 26 and him pushing stuff. And then I came in now 6 or 7 years ago, like around like World, kind of when it first launched. I had my own very small kind of like, I'm not sure how big your other channel is, Hollow, actually, but I had my own very small YouTube channel and my own little stream going on. And I was just friends with 26, and it was through that we kind of realized we play in the same games, we're doing content, we might as well combine. So I'd been doing videos like 6 or 7 years, scripting, and Arekkz would voice them, editing them. I would even voice the occasional video, and the funny thing is, like, people would just be like, Arekkz sounds a bit off today.
They do that to me.
No, the amount of people that misidentify whether it's Hollow
There's
me
three
or
of us.
Cotton speaking.
One of them's
sometimes.
Canadian.
Yeah, literally.
It sounds so different.
It's literally Canadian.
Exactly. So like, it's that weird thing where going into it, I was like, well, I've voiced hundreds of videos over the last years. I've edited probably in the thousands, and I have no problem with continuing on doing the voicing. So my hope was like, hopefully people won't mind too much. Obviously, there will be some people that will leave, some people that might be upset, but hopefully people wouldn't mind. And I think, there was an initial shock by people, I think, when it was like, oh, the channel's going to die, because people just assumed it was just Arekkz. But the reality is, we were doing multiple videos every day, scripts, edits, and VOs already. So for us, it was kind of like, yes, it was change, but it was still like business as usual. We would still get up, we would still play the game, we would still make the video and put out the video. So hopefully now that it's been about 2 years, coming up on 2 years now at the end of this year.
No, it's not been 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hopefully people can see, oh, the content's still out there. We were doing a lot of the content before anyway, so the content style is the same. The guides are still like helpful to people, hopefully, like that, at least that's what it seems to be a reflection with the likes and the comments. That I was hopeful that it would just kind of like just be business as usual, but just with the two of us instead of the three of us, or previously we even had 4, but now it's just the 2. So we've just been going along, playing the games. It's actually in a weird way a bit more freeing, because we can play more of the games that we want to and are interested in, and then gear content towards them. And it's been a real blast doing that. So like some of like the highlights over the last couple of years have been like love it or hate it, Starfield was like a really fun game to play and do videos on because it was so expansive. Diablo 4 with all the different classes, and there's so much stuff to farm in that game. Remnant 2 was super fun, you know, the hidden classes to find and going through that. And there's like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was super fun. That was really great. You know, we managed to do guides on different characters and farm the end game out. So it was a transition, but it was also not a huge difference in like what our day-to-day was to do. It was just maybe voice a couple more videos.
That was the big question or wonder that I had when it happened, was like, you know, I knew that it wasn't just Arekkz, and I knew that you'd already been on the channel working for years. So a question really that I was expecting was just keep going. Are they going to keep going? Is there going to be a big change? If not, they'll be fine, because it's just keep doing what you were doing. And you've probably like you were just saying, it's less complicated when there isn't 4 of you with all the different opinions and takes on things. With the 3 of us working together, it can be conflicting. We do have different opinions. That side of things where it's just 2 of you, I can imagine it's a lot more straightforward. But yeah, the big thing for me is when things like that happen is to just keep going, do better if not the same, and no one's going to mind in time, and that's been proven.
Yeah, that's what basically we did. We reduced the amount of videos that we output, but upped the quality of the videos that we were doing, essentially. People still say the videos that Arekkz makes are better, but like if you actually go back and look at them, like just from a production quality, like we've actually included titles now in our videos, we've got way more transitions, the length of the videos, the depth of information in every video that we contain is like way more succinct and concise now.
The more experience you have, the better you get.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would be weird if it wasn't that 2 years on. Like, obviously,
exactly.
You just steadily get better at it. Of course you do.
So we just tried our hardest to make good content, and I think people are resonating with it a little bit. And then just kind of adjusting to working with each other. I think me and Paradise have quite a similar personality, so when we agree on something, it's kind of like, okay, cool, we can go ahead. And I think that's one of the most important parts of
me and Josh are like super opposite. Super opposite.
Just night and day, constant arguing. How we get anything done is a mystery.
Yeah, it's like when I was working with Arekkz, even though he's like one of my best friends, even though there's like little things that we might not necessarily agree on so much, just because of who we are as like core people. Say he likes Zelda, I like Final Fantasy, so how do we dedicate our times to videos? Do we do more on like Final Fantasy videos? Do we do more on like Zelda videos? And all of that stuff. And when it comes down to that content, I feel like if you're just more aligned, like how me and Paradise are, it's like it's so smooth now. It is smooth. So I'm happy to kind of really continue to create content, and I don't feel like I'm ever going to reach that point where I don't like playing games and I don't like creating content, which is awesome. But that being said, Arekkz did a lot to the channel. He presented the videos in a really great way. He had his own ideas and everything, but certain things that he is known for, like the weapon workshops, that was a team effort. Long sword.
Of course.
Like when I'm gonna make videos about Dual Blaze, I'm not gonna not talk to Josh.
Yeah,
he's not a Dual Blaze main, but I want his opinion on stuff. You know? Like it is a team effort.
Yeah, and it came down to like, say for the weapon workshops, the longsword information, that's my information in the video, and basically all the notes that I brought up for like the world ones and for the Rise ones, but presented by Arekkz and like kind of succinctly like edited by Arekkz for those ones. But it was a team effort, and I think it's the same for like Paradise on his weapons as well.
Yeah, you just made me think about it. I think that's like our superpower as creators is just like the thing that I'm almost obsessively unhinged with. Is just like I like learning new things, and with games it's like the systems and the progression of it, and that's why I'm so into Deadlock right now. It's the same thing. Everyone's just like understanding and leveling up as you go. I love doing that in any game that is capable of that progression, and to make content on games like that is a dream. So
that's what I'm always wondering, when it's like people that don't play games, do they have to experience and learn so many things in their lifetimes? Like
I have no idea.
That's a really good point.
It's just Wilds is
So-
coming up, we have to learn so much, and now it's like another game's going to be after that, and we're going to have to learn so many mechanics about that. It's so interesting.
Exactly. Start
Yeah.
from zero every
Yeah.
time.
So my absolute final question, I promise. Oh, can we expect the Rage Gaming WoW comeback?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's War Within. Is that already out now?
Coming up, yeah.
Probably out by now.
Hey, I floated the idea of playing it, and you were a little bit receptive, and then it happened while all this is going on, and it's like, well, that's that done. Because like,
Well, it's so difficult.
yeah, the one thing that you don't have time for as a creator, I think, is playing an MMORPG, unless you are covering that MMORPG.
Yeah.
I think that is it's because I love them. Like they are like a guilty pleasure genre for me. I could just lose myself in them, but it's really bad for existing because they are
Yeah.
just time black holes. If you're gonna get anywhere, you need to just put in so many hours every day. Even if you're not covering it, just to be all right in the game, you have to put in so many hours. So it's just not compatible, which is a shame. Because obviously when we met, as we said earlier, we met via WoW when we were like 15, 16. And when you're 15, 16, you can wake up, play WoW all day,
Oh, you do
and,
whatever
then,
you want.
and then go to sleep. Obviously, I was a very cool teenager for doing that. But,
That's what
you
I
know,
thought, yeah.
those days are long gone, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I can't help. We have some funny stories of like not content creating playing WoW. Like we last played it together in Shadowbringers, which is like 4 years ago now. And we had this funny moment where we just joined like a raid team. We found it like the new looking for guild system, never used it before. And we're just 3 bozos, me, Josh, and Cotton, and we were playing. And then months later, and I'm like, I'm raid leading this team. They're asking me who I'm inviting, and I'm just like a random person in it. And we're putting so much time into it. We're doing like mythic pluses, and we're farming. We're helping other people. There's this like big community in a Discord, nothing to do with YouTube. It's taken up like a massive amount of time. And at a certain point, we just crumble, and we're like, oh, we've left. We're done.
Yeah.
And every time we play it, I don't know how it's going to go any other way because I can't just casually play it.
Do you
No, it's
do you
fine.
ever play a game just for you? You don't make any content, you don't record it, you just play it because you want to play it. Does that ever make you feel guilty?
I'm wasting time.
Yeah, does that ever make you feel just a little bit guilty? Because I can't
There's
shake
definitely
that.
an element. No, there's definitely an element of that. I think majority of games that me and 26 will play, we will probably cover in some capacity. But there is definitely games that like fall through the cracks, whether it's a game that just doesn't make sense to cover on the channel that people won't be receptive of, or a game that just isn't really a content like kind of game that you just doesn't make sense to do content for. So I'll just give an example. Like I said this previously in the past, but FPS games are like I think for 26 as well, there's like our favorite genre of game is FPS. I love all FPSs. I've probably played like every major FPS that has ever come out. I do Warzone beginners guides on the channel. That's about it for FPS coverage. It's my favorite genre, but there's just not. I don't feel like there's that wiggle room on the channel for it. But the beginners guides do well, which I'm happy about. They've done decently.
Yeah, it's a really reasonable idea.
Yeah, Warzone is a game that we definitely have played, but not really covered. So we have put in the hours on Warzone. Where I like to say we think we're pretty competent, and we'll have to team up sometime if you guys play. And I spoke about this before as well. There's a game that, again, disclaimer, I'm not endorsing this because I don't know what the monetization will be of it like yet. But there's an alpha for Delta Force. I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
The name rings a bell.
It does ring a bell, yeah.
It's going to have a campaign, which isn't available yet. It's got an online multiplayer mode, which is basically like Battlefield, big map, vehicles, big teams. Then it's got an extraction mode, which is like Tarkov, but with all the quality of life that you would actually want Tarkov to have. And it's just super fun to play. Like it's like an addicting game, but it all depends on the monetization, and that will ultimately probably we'll scope how we cover it, and if we do.
I'm a big Tarkov guy. I've got like 3k hours in it. I play it all the time, and there's nothing like it, so it'll be interesting to see if that's
Come play Delta Force with us. It's better. It's better.
Oh, that's
a big claim.
Yeah, we're looking.
Big
This is a
claim.
lovely civil discussion.
Can
That camera goes off. There's about to be a fight.
Straight up better.
Can I literally bark at someone like a dog while I run them down like through the hallways in like the dorms?
Yeah.
You should hear him play Tarkov. He's actually, he's actually scary.
I'm a
listening to
monster.
him playing Tarkov.
No, definitely. It would actually be. I mean, you know, we're all tight on time, but we managed to fit
We
these
have
games
so
in
much
somewhere.
free time. We have so much free time.
Yeah.
No, it'd be fun to team up. But yeah, so we definitely have those. And there is like Josh, you were saying, there is a guilty factor. It's like you're playing it, and your content brain's going,
Yeah.
make a guide on this.
Yeah, literally.
This is a location, you know. So that definitely happens. But sometimes you have to make that difference, even just from a business sense.
It's
if the
important.
audience
I
won't
think
like
it
it.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely just want to add some context to what Paradise said, by the way. It's not just FPS being our favorites. We do love action games because I feel like someone's going to take that and eat us up in the comments like, later on. Like, he's going to be like, Arekkz, look, the Arekkz guys are just FPS guys now. They're just con
I
guys.
should delete this tweet.
we
I'm
love-
already typing saying they don't really like Monster Hunter. Is that?
They
is
really
that
like
okay?
Monster
Yeah,
Hunter.
yeah.
Yeah, we love the FPS game Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people do think it's impossible to like love multiple things. Like,
Different
like
genres of
it is,
games.
and it's strange. What a concept.
Exactly. I literally
That's
just
just
play
it.
everything. So when it comes down to it, like Metal Gear is like in my one of my top
Yeah,
favorite
my
games.
100%.
Halo's in
Number
my
one.
like top favorite
Like-
Final Fantasies in there. It's like these games are just core to me who I am as a person. And
Agreed.
like Monster Hunter is definitely one of those games that has built me in my like older years as I've been
Yeah,
growing up as a person. So playing all of these games, I look at a new game and I'm like, that is one that I want to play. And I'll, again, as I said, I won't lose that passion like ever. So yeah.
Yeah,
I feel the
definitely.
same.
Yeah, Monster
It's
Hunter's
exactly
got a lot,
that.
really.
It's like you can love FPS as a favorite genre, but that doesn't change the fact that I was sat there on the 3DS playing Generations with the switch axe and the heavy bowgun, just like having the
Oh,
blast.
Bogan.
The connections there, you see.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Ah,
But
there he is,
exactly,
FPS.
Exactly.
I knew it. I knew it.
Got him.
Exactly. Anyway, guys, Hollow, Josh, the RageGaming gang, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute
Oh,
pleasure.
it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for
Appreciate it.
inviting us.
I can't believe it. We've engaged on Twitter, but we haven't properly had a chat.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I really appreciate it. I love what you guys do. They will be linked below if people haven't somehow heard of RageGaming. They'll be linked down below, but you guys know what's up. But thank you, Josh. Thank you, Hollow. Really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll have a chat at some point in the future as well.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
is there any last things you want to say or go over before we wrap it up?
Yeah, let me just say two things before you jump in. The first thing is, this is like the funniest meeting. This is literally our first time meeting the Rage team, so you guys get to experience our first ever conversation.
That's
which is not
true,
something
yeah.
that you
I guess
necessarily
it's our first
do.
proper sit down.
Exactly, which is funny. And then the second one is, if there is ever a Stories 3, let's do a little versus battle in the multiplayer.
You know what? I'm all for that. I talking of guilty things just for you that relate to that. In Stories 2, I actually got really into like competitive
The PvP.
proper battling.
Yeah.
I was
Oh
on
God,
the
I
Discord
remember.
community.
I was like, what are you doing?
Every Sunday, I would wake up early and do an actual like arranged tournament elimination
That's
brackets for like 2 months. I was so into it, and no one knew. No one knew until right now when I've said it. Not even Aaron, not Cotton. No one really
That's
knew I was doing
insane.
this. I was just full.
I didn't know you were running tournaments.
Yeah.
I knew you were playing it all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time,
no, I was
but didn't
going
know you were
full
running a
tournament eliminations. There was prizes. It was, I don't know what happened.
That is
It was
a true guilty
wild.
pleasure right there, hidden. Hidden
Right.
meetups. It's funny.
But yeah, we really appreciate you inviting us, and it's nice to like something that we've been doing, and I'm sure you guys have been doing recently. Is it's just using it as an excuse when people together to just sort of say hello and
Yeah.
put a name to a face and get to know each other a little bit. And it's not always, even us with the similar like approach to games. I suppose we cover totally different stuff, so we're not usually in the same field even. So it is nice to just sort of touch base.
Definitely.
The real question I want to know the answer to is, will you play Monster Hunter Wilds with us?
Yeah, of course.
Let's get our hype.
definitely,
in.
that'd be
Also,
a lot of
book
fun.
it here, get it in the
It'd be
book.
jokes.
All right.
Cool.
Guys, thank you again so much. Appreciate the
Yes,
time that you've
thank
taken
you.
here. And yeah, there'll be RageGaming guys will be linked down below. Thank you for watching,
Appreciate it.
everyone. And we're gonna have more videos on Monster Hunter Wilds and your favorite games coming very, very soon.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.